justice. So if you or a loved one has been diagnosed with lung cancer, mesothelioma, or asbestosis, you need a legal team that has the experience and resources to get the most compensation for your injuries. So call the number on your screen right now for more information, and thanks for watching.
This is a paid advertisement for Whites and Luxembourg Peace.
Do you have an old car, truck, or van taking up space in your home? You can call the number below today and donate it to the United Breast Cancer Foundation to help save a life. Our qualified personnel will go to your home to pick it up completely free of charge. Donating your old truck or SUV helps pay for the programs available to women affected by breast cancer who need your help. Please help us to help others. Call now.
The bladder control aisle. You won't shop here again. Your private business is your own. The constant struggle is over. Now there's a better way. It's HDIS. We home deliver bladder control products. We understand how you feel. For over 25 years, we've home delivered to many of the 20 million Americans who deal with incontinence. We offer all brands. We pay shipping and use plain, unmarked boxes. If we can help you or someone you care for, call for your free product sample pack and $45 in money-saving coupons. Our counselors will help you choose the right product. And unlike stores, we're always in stock. You'll get what you need. Satisfaction guaranteed. HDIS, the better way.
For your free sample pack with your free catalog, $45 in money-saving coupons, and free product samples, call 1-800-905-9814. That's 1-800-905-9814.
Good evening and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. Now we're going to start tonight on Capitol Hill with the very latest when it comes to the political battle of the formation of a commission to investigate the Capitol Hill riot. Amazingly, you would think it would be simple, but if you do, you wouldn't be paying attention to Washington nowadays. For the latest on this, let's bring in senior political correspondent Andrew Whitman.
Hasn't even been simple today, Rich, on the day they're supposed to vote. A few weeks ago, a bipartisan group in the House passed a bill that would create a bipartisan commission to study the Capitol riot, one that would work in much the same way that the 9/11 Commission operated. Today, that bill comes up for a vote in the Senate. We have been waiting all day for that vote, and we are still waiting. The Senate bogged down in other business, which, by the way, did see a bipartisan compromise on something else, but they have not yet voted or even begun the process. That procedural vote, when it happens, will need 60 votes to pass, and right now it appears the votes just aren't there. We could see 4 to 7 Republicans cross the line and vote with Democrats, but absolutely no one in Washington sees a path for any more, at least not right now. It is not for lack of trying. Earlier today, there was a concerted effort to try and change the hearts and minds of Republican senators, not from the Democrats, but from the family and co-workers of a man who died January 7th, the day after the riot. The mother of late Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick, who died of a stroke connected to the riot, along with Sicknick's longtime girlfriend, joined 2 other Capitol Police officers, Michael Fanone and Harry Dunn, as they toured Senate office buildings, meeting with some Republicans, trying to meet with others, and all but begging for the Senate to approve the commission.
Just look at the footage of what all these people went through and all these police officers did to make them safe, to keep them safe.
Brian had a work ethic like second to none, and he was just there for our country and for these guys, and he just was doing his job, and he got caught up in it, and it's very sad.
Facts are facts. If they look at the footage that happened, it's very obvious that that was not a peaceful day. Police officers were getting attacked, they were getting beaten, fire extinguishers were thrown at them, they were being attacked by flagpoles. I mean, Mike and Officer Dunn here, or I should say Officer Pimentel, they can basically tell you right now what they experienced, and it wasn't a tourist day. It wasn't tourists just passively walking by.
If January 6th didn't happen, Brian would still be here, plain and simple.
Some emotional appeals. Senate Democrats had less to offer. There was some rattling in the press and statements on social media, and some limited pressure from West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin, who continues to refuse any steps to chip away at Senate filibuster rules, the same rules expected to block the riot commission once they start voting. Manchin issued his second statement in as many days, a statement that took a few more swings at Republicans than his last one, writing, "There is no excuse for any Republican to vote against this commission since Democrats have agreed to everything they asked for." Mitch McConnell has made this his political position, thinking it will help his 2022 elections. They do not believe the truth will set you free, so they continue to live in fear. But when pressed by reporters, Manchin refused to put any real muscle behind those words.
Would you be willing to break the filibuster in order to get this passed? The plan is
I'm not ready to destroy our government. I'm not ready to destroy our government. No, I think the nation will come together. You have to have faith. There's 10 good people.
Waiting for those 10 good people. Turns out the pressure from Manchin and the Sicknick family was met with what may have been a more immediate pressure on Republicans from Mitch McConnell. CNN reporting that the Senate Republican leader asked his members to vote no on the commission and to do so as a personal favor to him. The expected vote to reject a riot commission sadly should not be a surprise, not as the GOP continues to be unable or unwilling to deal with its worst elements. And we have some fresh examples. Number one, former House Speaker Paul Ryan, under whose leadership House Republicans moved further and further away from their past norms. He's speaking tonight, making a call for the party to lessen its reliance on Donald Trump and to avoid starting more culture wars. A welcome message, but for many, it's much too little and much too late. There's also the drama playing out inside the Republican Party in Nevada, where there are claims the state party chairman stacked a recent meeting with members of the Proud Boys just so they'd have enough votes to censure the state's Republican Secretary of State because she would not sign off on an Arizona-style partisan election audit, insisting that Joe Biden won the state fair and square. That Arizona audit, by the way, remains ongoing with no finish line yet in sight. And on the comic relief side, Representatives Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're holding another joint rally, which begins in just a few minutes, this time in Greene's home state of Georgia. This is both try to stave off calls for their expulsions from Congress after their personal behaviors both reached scandal levels. Not too long ago, members in their positions would seek to avoid the spotlight, but for the GOP, that was then. And this, for the GOP, is the age of Trump. Rich?
I don't think Mitch McConnell anymore gets to look at the fringe, the lunatic fringe of the Gaetzes or the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and shake his head and say, you know, I don't recognize these Republicans. The fact that Mitch McConnell was in the building that night like his colleagues, didn't have the courage like more than half a dozen of his Republican colleagues did to join Democrats and convict the president of a second of impeachment, but yet would go to the microphone and say, look no further than the outgoing president. He owns this moment. He's responsible. And by the way, if you want to bring criminal charges, have at him. To then turn around and last night say to his fellow Republicans, as a personal favor to me, let's not even have a commission. The idea that there are adults in the room and then children in both political parties and that the extremes, you know, can maybe suck the oxygen out of it. No. Mitch McConnell chose to not have a probe. Now, maybe at the end of the day, he won't get his way because he'll break the filibuster, but it was a conscious decision, Andrew. He knew the threat to democracy. He knows the message this will send to the worst elements. He still does it. He believes for political gain. But at what price? And I'm not being Pollyannish right now. He knows better. Marjorie Taylor Greene's a lunatic. I don't even know if, you know, she has residency on planet Earth. But Mitch McConnell, he can count as well as anyone in Washington. He knows where the lines are. He knew that night of January 6th just how close our democracy came to its worst moment. And he said all the right things, even if he didn't have the guts to vote to match his words. But now it's like, never mind. As if none of us, even though all of us, saw everything in living color that awful day.
Two responses. The first is stunning for me to even think about, much less report. But there's every possibility that they will get fewer Republican votes tonight on the commission than they got to impeach and remove the president back, during the impeachment trial. We already know that some of the senators who voted to remove the president, some of the Republicans, have said they're not going to vote for the commission, which is just jaw-dropping. The second is that we saw the sort of naked politics in play on Kevin McCarthy's side when this was being debated in the House or when he was removing Liz Cheney. Kevin McCarthy, who reportedly before the 2016 election said there's two people I think are on Putin's payroll, and he named Trump as one of them, is now so beholden to Trump because he wants to be Speaker of the House and he wants that power. We've known for years how craven Mitch McConnell is for power and for the ability to do damage, against Democratic agenda or to support a Republican agenda. This is all clearly a move because he thinks it will position him best to regain the majority leader status.
Listen, sometimes I know at home this is just white noise out of Washington. They're talking, across each other. But no, tonight this is not complicated. There's a right and a wrong thing to do here, okay? The right thing, I don't care what political party you are, how you identify in the political spectrum. This has nothing to do with politics. Bad people attacked our democracy. They committed crimes. They attacked our police. They injured more than a couple hundred cops, and cops died that day. They talked about hanging the vice president and doing just as bad to others. And only because of the heroism of folks in the front lines are some of these lawmakers still with us today. So with all those as facts, not opinions, we get revisionist history where some talk about tourism, there were just tourists that day, or that the rioters were the ones being persecuted, and Republicans are sitting by and saying, that's okay. This is about something really simple. It's about basic fear. Now, they know the right thing to do, they being Republicans, but the vast majority of them today won't vote the right thing because they're afraid. They're afraid, because Mitch McConnell told them, hey, this could hurt us next November in the midterms. They're afraid that if they vote the right way and they vote their conscience, Donald Trump's going to target them and start tweeting about them. Oh, that's right, he lost his Twitter privileges, but he'll still say angry things about them. They're afraid of what they're going to find within their own party. They're afraid that they're going to find out that a few House Republicans, as we know, had conversations, maybe even gave tours, recon, if you will, to some of these folks that ended up rioting just days later when they came to the rally that the president scheduled, and that some of them even spoke at the very same rally at the same dais. And they're afraid they're going to be exposed for what they are, which is frauds. Their complicity is going to be shown. We'll play the sound bites about what they said on January 6th, and then they're going to match up with their vote today. So, to me, this is naked fear. It is as small a political moment. It's a misjudgment, by the way, not just a morality, Andrew, but also this will not play well when people vote. They're going to remember this. And my God, that the Sitnik widow, or his mother and his partner, had to come and basically beg senators to show a fraction of a percent of the courage that their late son and partner had speaks volumes about where we are.
And some of the Republicans they wanted to speak with wouldn't even speak with them today, as they were there roaming the halls, waiting for the opportunity, wouldn't even meet with them. Some did, several didn't.
And again, they had a chance to even vote to honor the police. They don't. How do they walk the halls or walk into the Capitol going forward, looking at those officers' eyes and saying, I couldn't even do this for you after you saved me?
And claiming to be pro-police all the way.
All right, Andrew, thank you. When we come back, a new car, Knicks tickets, free college tuition for 4 years, $1 million. Those are just some of the incentives that states are handing out to encourage people to get vaccinated. After the break, an ER doctor from California joins to discuss new information about how much protection those shots can provide, and also the pace of the reopenings, and whether or not they're cause for concern.
When you fall and can't get help,
Help!
you will lie on the floor for hours or days in constant, terrible anguish, which often results in a tragic outcome. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
Don't worry, help is on the way.
With any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, whether at home,
I've fallen and I can't get up.
in the bathroom,
I've fallen in the shower.
or on the go.
Help! I'm in the park and I can't get up.
And batteries never need charging. Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-215-6582. That's 1-800-215-6582. Call now. 1-800-215-6582.
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for dental visits. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for transportation to my doctor. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay to have my prescriptions delivered directly to my home. Did you?
These and more are important benefits some Medicare Advantage plans may give you. So if you're eligible for Medicare, call us right now because you may be eligible to enroll in a plan with amazing additional benefits. Some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for services like these: dental visits, vision coverage, hearing coverage, home delivery of drugs, even gym memberships. Some plans may include no copays for many services and 0 deductibles. Don't wait to find out if you're eligible to enroll in a plan that may include some of these wonderful benefits you deserve. Call us right now. The call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation. Make this free call now to learn if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that may include additional benefits you want. Call us right now.
Mary and Shirley both need oxygen. Shirley lost her freedom the day she went on oxygen, but Mary has the ultra-compact Inogen 1 G4 oxygen concentrator from Inogen. It's the smallest and lightest model we've ever made. Shirley is forced to miss out on everyday activities. Mary fully enjoys her life. Shirley has to wait for tank deliveries and worries about running out of oxygen. But Mary's Inogen 1 G4 makes its own oxygen, so she'll always have the oxygen she needs anytime, anywhere. Shirley finally listened to Mary and now has more freedom too. It's time for you to reclaim your freedom and independence with the Inogen 1 G4. Act now to start your 30-day risk-free trial. This is a limited-time offer, so don't wait and don't accept substitutions. The sooner you call, the sooner you can say goodbye to heavy oxygen tanks for good and reclaim the freedom and independence you deserve. Call now for your 30-day risk-free trial.
Call 800-462-8146. That's 800-462-8146.
Abigail Bugensky from Silverton and Hamilton County won the $1 million prize. Joseph Costello from Englewood in Montgomery County, Southwest Ohio, won the first student full ride scholarship, which is room, board, tuition, and books for 4 years to college.
That's Ohio Governor Mike DeWine talking about how his state is incentivizing people to get vaccinated. Take a listen to how the winners reacted.
When I got the call, which I thought was a prank call initially, and it was a Wednesday night that I'm never going to forget.
I didn't know what it was because my dad hadn't told me it. When he picked me up, I guess he wanted it to be a surprise.
We were riding home and I said, Joe, just it's good news, but no questions. Just look out the window.
And the governor's staff member broke the news to Joseph in our driveway.
Now, many other states, they're doing similar things as the vaccination rates fall, since hitting a peak of more than 3 million shots per day just last month. Now, fewer than 2 million people are getting inoculated every 24 hours. CVS is seeing a huge decline. The pharmacy chain saying it can put 25 million shots into arms each month, but it's not even getting close to that number of shots administered. That's why it's offering vacations, Super Bowl tickets, and cold hard cash as incentives. Now, even with the pace slowing down, half of the adult population in the U.S. has gotten at least one shot, and 4 in 10 Americans, they're fully vaccinated. Plus, we are getting some good news about the protections provided by the vaccines. New studies are out that show that immunity to the virus lasts at least a year for those who have been infected. And if you add the vaccine into the mix, that immunity is expected to last a whole lot longer. Since there is only about a year's worth of data, it's impossible to tell right now how long it will actually last, but scientists say it could be for a lifetime. Earlier today, Andrew spoke with ABC News medical correspondent Dr. Darian Sutton. They discussed the current state of the pandemic, the vaccines, and where we go from here.
Dr. Sutton, we're seeing reports about what appears to be lasting immunity from both the vaccines and also for people who got COVID earlier on. We know that some of the people who contracted the virus have been among the most vocal and most ardent against getting themselves vaccinated. Does that news about lasting immunity prove them right?
It's a complicated subject. I have to say that the additional reports show that those who have had natural infections of COVID-19 and gotten the vaccine have had outstanding levels of durability of their immune responses to COVID-19. So I would say, yes, you have some protection from having a natural infection, but having a vaccine adds to that protection and protects you against future reinfections. So I think I understand why those who have had natural infections might not want to get a vaccine, but the benefits are clear.
To hopefully ward off possible reinfections, we're hearing that people may need booster shots. Do we have any idea when that might happen? And will people have different booster shots depending on which kind of vaccination they got?
Well, this is evolving data. As time goes on, we get more and more information and data regarding the effectiveness of these vaccines and how long they are lasting. So far, every time we're checking, they're still proving to be effective. As far as whether or not we'll need a booster shot, we have to wait for more data to come in to see if that decision is possible. As far as those who have had particular vaccines in the past, will they need a different kind? I think, and I surmise from my understanding of vaccines and the history of vaccines, that regardless of whatever vaccine you first got, it does not change what vaccine you need in the future. For example, if you've gotten Moderna, you would be able to get Pfizer. It should not matter. But again, whether or not that is actually needed is based on the data, and we simply just have to wait and see.
With the antibodies and immunities for people who contracted it naturally sticking around longer, at least according to those reports, add up those people and all of the people who have now been vaccinated, which is now above 50%. Are we at or near herd immunity in the United States, or is that a metric we shouldn't even be looking to at this point?
I think we should certainly include it, and I think we're definitely near that goal of that minimum, that 70% to induce that vaccine-induced herd immunity. If you combine those who have naturally been infected, we're likely closer than we think. However, what we do know is that those who have had natural asymptomatic or mild infections tend to have decreasing levels or waning amounts of their antibody responses, therefore making them theoretically susceptible to reinfection. So it makes it difficult to put all of the people who have had COVID-19 into one box because the variability of their antibody responses, which is one of the reasons why we love for people to get vaccinated, because we have a standard level of immune response. And so as time goes on, we'll get more and more data about these topics.
So herd immunity is something that we should still be keeping an eye out towards, and will that actually change things if we ever get to that number?
Absolutely. So what we surmise and what scientists and epidemiologists and many scientists understand is that when we get to that minimum level of 70%, we have a level of protection within the community that substantially decreases the risk of spread. And again, although our numbers are great right now within the United States, we do know that that is not the same story in other countries around the world, as other variants are causing outbreaks and epidemics in small parts of other countries other than India. So it's important that we do our best to stamp out this virus as much as we can for the pending possible likely future of variants coming up as a threat.
Couple of practical questions for you. The NBA and NHL are now in playoffs. Basketball and hockey arenas packed with 15,000 people per game. Some arenas require proof of vaccination for most fans, but not every team or arena does. Would you have any concerns going to an arena packed with people yelling and cheering at this point?
Personally, yes. I try to avoid spaces with many people of whom I don't know from different households, because that increases my risk of exposure to the virus, even though I am fully vaccinated. My tip to patients and community members is simply, if you're around people that you don't know and you don't know about their vaccine status, it's probably best to wear a mask. And it's really simple. And regardless of your vaccine status, if you're around a lot of people, I think do your best to decrease your risk of being exposed and transmitting this virus.
On that same front, bars, nightclubs, and other social scenes are coming back to life, and you would assume that that means more intimate interactions are rebounding as well. Blunt question for you, is casual sex, especially with a new partner, COVID safe for vaccinated people?
For vaccinated people, I think intimate interactions between two people is a relatively safe interaction. Obviously, we're just discussing COVID and not all the other adverse effects that come with sex. But for obviously, my perspective of disease is on population basis and community basis. So I think interactions between two individuals are relatively low risk, given the fact that both of those individuals are vaccinated. But I think the risk is introduced when you step into large groups in low or limited ventilated areas.
Finally, Doctor, we're seeing more and more of the U.S. opening up, and at the same time, there is news of new lockdowns and new restrictions in other countries, including Japan, Australia, India, and elsewhere. Two questions. What's the difference between their timelines and ours? Is it all because of vaccinations? And will what's happening there impact us here?
A large part of their timelines and the difference between their timelines and ours is simply vaccinations. We have seen tremendous decreases in the rates of cases and hospitalizations since the output of these vaccines across the country. And also, unfortunately, that's not the same story to be told in other countries, which is why likely these lockdowns are occurring. As far as whether or not they'll be associated to our future, I have a tremendous faith in the fact that these vaccines are not only proving effective in the variants that we're seeing here, but they're proving effective in the variants that we're seeing in other parts of the country, or other parts of the world when we test for them. So I do not think that it will cause us a significant threat. But of course, we also have to have cautious optimism and be wary of the possibility of a variant coming up that might be more of a threat than we initially have seen before.
Some terrific insights from Dr. Darian Sutton, ABC News medical contributor. Dr. Sutton, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Now, for the balance of this program, we're going to be focusing on immigration. We're going to show you what's going on at the U.S.-Mexico border. And we're going to tell you from a firsthand perspective. We just got back from a trip to both Texas and Mexico. We spoke with people who live there, migrants who are trying to gain asylum in the U.S., and workers who are trying to help those migrants. Tomorrow, I'll share my conversations along the border. But next, young people, often even unaccompanied minors, they're trying to achieve the American dream. We're going to show you their perspectives from up here right after this break.
The first 3 months, we saved $4,100.
CarShield saved me over $6,000 in engine repairs.
I saved $4,100 out of pocket.
Amazing, amazing.
Customers everywhere agree. If your car is out of warranty, you need to call CarShield before your car has an expensive breakdown.
Without CarShield, there was no way that I could afford to get my car fixed.
An engine, transmission, or computer system breakdown could cost you thousands of dollars, but not with CarShield, America's #1 car protection provider.
CarShield saved us $4,000. That was great, right?
Yes, it was.
We're just happy with CarShield. They put a transmission in it and a motor. Who does that?
CarShield makes sure you don't have to pay for expensive car repairs.
The components that we're using are not getting cheaper. So nowadays, coverage is even more important.
CarShield covers most makes and models from 5,000 to 150,000 miles.
It's easy, affordable, and no long-term contracts.
And when customers realize that they're getting a $5,000 job for $100, they're excited. I've had customers who were so happy that they did break down into tears and cry.
We saved over $6,000 on a complete engine rebuild of our truck.
With CarShield, I saved over $3,600. It's a no-brainer.
I never have to worry about being taken advantage of when it comes to car repairs.
It's like having a suit of armor around my car.
Cars will break down, and those breakdowns could cost you thousands unless you call CarShield today and get the protection you deserve.
CarShield saved me in excess of $10,000.
And when you call, you'll also receive at no extra cost roadside assistance, towing services, and rental coverage.
If your car's out of warranty, believe me, you want to have CarShield.
Make the smart choice and protect yourself from sky-high auto repair bills. Call now for a free and instant protection plan quote. It's only a matter of time until repairs are needed. And once your car breaks down, it's too late. Call 800-858-4214, 800-858-4214.
This is an advertisement for legal services. Important news for farm workers and others exposed to the weed killer paraquat and who were later diagnosed with Parkinson's disease or told by a doctor they might have Parkinson's disease. Studies say those exposed to paraquat sold under these brand names and others have an increased risk of developing Parkinson's disease or Parkinson's-like disease. If you or a loved one worked around the weed killer paraquat and were then diagnosed diagnosed with Parkinson's disease or told by a doctor you might have Parkinson's disease since exposure, call the law offices of Davis & Crump right now at the number below to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call the law offices of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one were exposed to paraquat and were then diagnosed with Parkinson's disease or told by a doctor you might have Parkinson's disease. Call Davis & Crump right now to see if you're eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Our first consultation is free, and we don't get paid unless you get paid. Call now. Operators are standing by.
If something happened to you, what would happen to them? Their home, their education, their future. You need life insurance, and chances are SelectQuote can help you get it for less than $1 a day.
SelectQuote found Jacob 40, a $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. And SelectQuote found his wife Wendy, a $500,000 policy for only $17 a month.
Our secret? At SelectQuote, we aggressively comparison shop up to 10 highly rated companies to find you the company with the best rates.
We found Gary, 35, a $1 million policy for only $22 a month.
Why pay more? Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford.
Call 800-717-7198 or go to SelectQuote.com now and get the insurance your family needs.
At a price you can afford. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
This is important news for people who have taken Zantac or its generic ranitidine and then suffered from cancer. Zantac and generic ranitidine have been linked to cancers such as bladder cancer and kidney cancer. According to the FDA, Zantac and ranitidine contain NDMA, a known cancer-causing agent. NDMA has been linked to cancers of the bladder, kidney, colon, esophagus, liver, ovaries, pancreas, and other cancers. If you or a loved one took Zantac or ranitidine and were then diagnosed with cancer, call the lawyers at Davis & Crump right now to see if you're eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call the lawyers at Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one took Zantac or generic ranitidine and were then diagnosed with bladder cancer, kidney cancer, or any of these cancers. Call now to see if you're eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Our first consultation is free, and we don't get paid unless you get paid. Call Davis & Crump right now. Operators are standing by.
At Wounded Warrior Project, while we all deal with the effects of COVID-19, our greatest concern is for the health and safety of our nation's wounded heroes, especially those who are at increased risk due to their service to our nation and those who are even now more isolated. We are connecting with warriors and families by adapting our free life-changing programs, including increased phone and video support and online services. The need has never been greater, and we've never been more committed. Please support warriors today.
Are you over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days? I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. Call now for this free book on maximizing your income in retirement. Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers from leading financial firm J.D. Mellberg. That's right, free. This book reveals little-known truths about annuities in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now, because we're about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known truths we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity, and it's free. Call 800-851-7261. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report. We researched numerous products and summarized rates and benefits of annuities, all from Silac Insurance Company. Call 800-851-7261. That's 800-851-7261. Call now.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
8 years ago, my daughter called to say she was expecting our first grandchild, but I never heard her say it. So a few years ago, Gina bought me a nano hearing aid. And now I love hearing Ryan call me Papa. And at only $297 for a full pair, they make a great gift for someone you know. Plus, call now and order one hearing aid, and Nano will give you a second absolutely free.
Call 1-800-238-2857.
This is Reynosa, Mexico. It's one of the most dangerous places in the world, and it's where hundreds of migrants are waiting, hoping to get asylum in the United States, including many young children who made the journey here on their own. So what am I, a 17-year-old girl from Westchester, New York, doing in the middle of the latest immigration crisis? My name is Julia French, and I came here so I could see for myself what's going on, to try and understand what was making children my age and younger risk their lives just in the hope of becoming an American. These are their stories.
It's so different from what I'm used to. Like, it's just crazy. Just seeing all the people walk around.
No, estoy esperando a alguien que se quede acá atrás. Gracias.
The amount of security just all over the place. It's very gloomy.
That was my first impression of our border with Mexico. I've just arrived in McAllen, Texas, the heart of the current migration crisis, with my journalist dad, Richard French, and producer Norma Galeana. And I quickly realized the crisis is everywhere. Before we could even get into Mexico, we saw buses dropping off dozens of migrants, sending them back to the very country they were trying to escape. Most of them were men, and most only had a small plastic bag to hold their life's possessions. Norma is a journalist with a lot of border experience, so I asked her about them. Do you think the majority of them are coming from other parts of Mexico or certain places in Central America?
I think at this point it's a mix of Central America and Mexico.
Where are you headed to? Right here to Reynosa.
This is all before we even crossed the McAllen-Hidalgo Bridge.
I'm nervous, but I'm excited to be able to talk to people and see what's going on.
What do you expect to get out of this?
I'm expecting just to be able to see what's happening firsthand and to better understand the issue, just because, I mean, you can get so much just from seeing something on a little screen, but being able to see it in person, I think it will definitely change my perspective of things.
Our first stop in Mexico is Reynosa and La Plaza de la República. It's where migrants, forced to wait to apply for asylum, have set up a tent city. Most say they came here at what they call La Invitación, the invitation to America they were led to believe they would receive when Joe Biden became president. But that invitation obviously never happened. Most of the people here are families with young children, and life on the plaza wasn't at all what I expected. This is just tents everywhere. It's very different than anything I've seen in America. I mean, people are huddled in their tents with multiple people, not a lot of protection from the rain, the security is limited. It's a lot happening all at once. And if I thought things were hard for them, a rainstorm showed me just how much harder it really is. While hiding from the downpour, I met 9-year-old Charlene and 12-year-old Natalia. Natalia is from Guatemala and traveled thousands of miles with her mom. She says it took them a month and a half to make the trip. Her only fear? When I ask her about her family back home, she tells me her father was killed there. It's why they had to run. I tell her in Spanish, she's very strong.
Tú estás muy fuerte. Lo siento, mi español es muy terrible, pero...
It's obvious that even though she's only 12, she's seen things that I can't imagine. 9-year-old Charlene's life in Honduras seems better.
Que ella iba a la escuela con mis amigos y ella jugaba con ellos todos los días. Ahí daban tiempo para jugar.
She got to Reynosa with her father, but misses her family back home.
Extraño que a mis hermanos, que yo jugaba con ellos, a mi mamá también, que me la pasaba con ella, ahí jugando también con ella.
And all she wants for her future is to be able to help them.
Quiero ser doctora y poder apoyar a mis papás, y por eso me quiero ir para allá, a Estados Unidos, para poder allá graduarme y ayudarle a mis papás.
When the rain finally stops, we head back to our car. But before we get in, Norma asks me what I think about what I saw.
It was just very hectic. Everyone was just trying to get shelter, trying to stay dry, and in doing so, I was able to talk to some people about their experiences, and I think that what they were telling me was just further emphasized, like all the burdens, just seeing them have to be under a plastic tent that they all made just to stay dry. Literally seconds away from the border where I'm from, I see people suffering like this. We have no idea how lucky we are to have the lives that we do, and that at the end of the day, what we're seeing on the news isn't the complete reality that of the situation.
As we pull up to our next stop, my mind is still on the migrants living in the makeshift tents in the rain. If they're lucky, some of them will end up here, the La Senda de Vida shelter, run by Pastor Hector Silva. The kids I met here made the trip on their own, and as dangerous as that sounds, the danger in Reynosa can be even greater.
Los agarraron, los quitaron todo y los fueron a encerrar a una casa. Que los iban a matar si no pagábamos el dinero.
This 18-year-old Honduran girl was kidnapped by a drug cartel when she arrived. We're hiding her identity to protect her. The cartels see migrants as another way to make money.
Los quitaron el teléfono y en el día llevaban una vez al día para que nosotros habláramos con el familiar para que pagaran el dinero.
She's one of the lucky ones because her family was able to pay.
Pues me siento feliz porque ya estoy en un lugar más seguro.
Another girl says coyotes stuffed her into a truck with 70 other people.
Cuando los montaron a unas combis y que no teníamos aire ni nada, que ya los ahogaron. Solo le pedí a Dios que me ayudara porque ya no podía, no alcanzaba respiración, estaba.
She's hoping to get into the United States to make money to help her elderly father. 16-year-olds Katarine and Anamias are just a year younger than I am. They also made the journey to escape violence in their home countries. They met here at the shelter, but are both from Honduras. And both tell the same story over a bowl of chicken soup.
Tuvimos problemas con las pandillas de Honduras, entonces tuvimos que salir obligados.
Nosotros nos tenían amenazadas las pandillas, a mí me querían obligar a vender drogas y todo eso.
It took Katarine 5 months and Anamias 5 weeks to reach Reynosa. Both want the American dream.
Creo que poder llegar a Estados Unidos y tener una vida pues con seguridad y estable.
Tener una vida mejor, un futuro mejor para mi familia, para mí.
Pastor Silva says these stories are not unusual.
Soon that you enter of the Mexican area or Mexico side, there's always like I've been take my telephone, they've been took my money, I got kidnapping.
He says he tries not to get emotional, but some of the stories he just can't forget.
Not long ago, I had this little girl, she was 14 years old, and I saw my wife and asked her, why are you crying? It's a girl right there, you're just talking to her, and she's 14 years old, and she was like 8 months pregnant, so, and it was like, it really impacted me.
He says most of the kids who arrive here alone just want to meet their parents who left them behind.
This boy, he would say, Pastor, if I can give my mom just a hug, I just want to give him a hug and I go back to my country.
As sad as those stories are, we also see hope. Danielle made the trip from Venezuela. While staying at the shelter, he discovered a new talent. He found an old piece of wood and made this painting.
3 bridges are going to like a better place. Is that better place America for you?
Yes.
He says it represents his future.
Para mí representa pues vida, un nuevo camino a una nueva vida, un mejor trabajo y ir a lo grande.
We say goodbye to our friends at Senda de Vida and head back to the United States.
We just got back into the United States and just the vast visual difference between Texas and Mexico and how crazy it is that this is so many people's lives and that they have to go through all this pain and suffering and having to travel thousands of miles just to get rejected from our country.
I've got a lot on my mind, including what we'll be doing tomorrow.
Shake your legs, shake your abs, shake your butt, shake up your entire body to a slim, firm, and sexy new you with PowerFit Elite, the breakthrough multi-directional vibration platform that helps engage all your muscles from the moment you step on it. PowerFit uses multi-directional vibration to create muscle confusion and rapidly contract and relax your muscles to help you get fit and stay fit.
It's intense. You really feel your whole body working.
You could be watching TV, but you do feel the workout.
It works you out where you don't feel like you're working out. It's actually a lot of fun.
Each traditional exercise that you do on PowerFit Elite can help sculpt, transform, and redefine your body from head to toe. The secret is the multi-directional vibration technology that causes muscle confusion and forces them to contract and counter-challenge you. Your muscles work hard so you can stabilize and maintain your balance. There are 3 standing positions: walking, jogging, and then running. Plus, there are 3 different program levels for workouts to choose from, so you can really customize your workout. PowerFit Elite can help improve your energy, burn calories, tone your body, define your abs, work your arms, strengthen your legs, boost your buttocks, and so much more. And for an even more intense workout, add resistance bands for bicep curls, forward lateral raises, and crisscross pulls. It's time to join the new fitness revolution that's shaking up the world. Call or go online now and you can try PowerFit Elite in your home for 30 days for only $14.95. But wait, order right now and we'll upgrade you to the deluxe set that includes the complete workout guide, the power bands, and the handy remote control. That's an over $80 value free. Try PowerFit Elite in your home for 30 days. And if it's not the best workout system you've used, just return it for a refund of your trial price. But hold everything, we'll also add our healthy eating plan to help you achieve your best possible results free. Try PowerFit Elite in your home for 30 days for only $14.95 and experience the power of extreme vibration. Order now.
After an auto accident, insurance companies will fight hard to avoid paying you. At Vocate Legal, we believe in fighting smarter. We know how insurance companies think, and that's why we use our experience-based strategy to outsmart them. Our accomplished attorneys have the knowledge, skills, and track record to pursue better legal outcomes at no upfront cost to you. Call us today or visit vocate.com for a free consultation.
Vocate Legal, fight smarter.
This is our second day here. We're going to a few small towns on the border on the American side just to see how American lives are impacted by the immigration crisis and also see the Rio Grande up close.
We start in Granada, Texas, which, like the sign that welcomes you, has had its ups and downs. The border wall is literally in the backyard of people like Gloria Garza.
They'll tear your fence down. They tear anything. They don't care.
She's lived here her whole life and says that she used to be against the border wall, but not anymore.
There's nights I don't sleep, and you have to be on the watch out. You have to be watching for everything, looking out, because these people are all over the place.
She says she used to give the immigrants who came to her house sandwiches and water, but the people coming over now are, quote, different.
Everybody keeps saying we come because there's hardships and that. This majority of the people, I'm not saying all of them, what scares us, they've caught criminals, they've caught predators, they've caught a lot of people, that's wrong for us here.
In Juan Rodriguez's backyard, the Border Patrol is standing guard. He says life on the border is hard.
Pues es ahorita un poco difícil para nosotros, sobre todo en la noche, porque están pasando muchos camiones, pues voces y pues las patrullas, hay muchas luces, pues esa medianoche no te dejan dormir.
Then there's the junkyard bar, and immigrants often find their way there.
They used to come and knock the door. Please help me, can you lend me your phone or let me come in? And I'm like, no. The last thing I want is get in trouble.
Lupita Salinas is a waitress at the bar. She sympathizes with the migrants and says she's seen things that have shocked her.
I seen like 2 kids walking by themselves from the border, from this walking, and then a border patrol passed by and picked them up.
At nearby Anzaldúa State Park, you'll find families on both sides of the border enjoying their day. On the Texas side, there are people boating and fishing, and on the Mexican side, I can see a family swimming. That's where I met 18-year-old Angel Montoya. I was curious what a kid close to my age who lives here thinks.
You can't judge a book by its cover, like just because they're probably not well off as we are or they don't have the same things we do doesn't mean they're different. We're all people.
He says his great-grandparents immigrated to the United States, so he knows the difference.
My great-grandparents that from a very young age, like around 10 years old, that they would have to work to provide for their family. And over here, you don't really see that often, It's always like there's always a situation where they're okay, they get to grow up, they get to go to school.
Back in the car, we see bus after bus pass by. They're all filled with migrants being taken back to Mexico. We follow them to the border wall. It's my first time seeing the giant steel fence up close, and I realize it's not just a wall that divides countries.
I feel like it's kind of not taunting. It either pains people or it encourages them to keep on going. And sometimes it's so painful for people to say that I've gone thousands of miles just to stand in front of a wall, and I can't do anything really about it. But also at the same time, it encourages many people to say, I'm so close to being where I want to be and being so close to accomplishing my dream.
It's been another emotional day. Tomorrow, we will be visiting a shelter where children are waiting to be reunited with their parents. In speaking with Sister Norma Pimentel, her work with immigrants has earned her the nickname the Pope's favorite nun.
Well, Julia, here we are. We're in Donna, Texas, and this is a detention facility that was in the headlines quite a bit with children here, a lot of times unaccompanied minors. This is a confusing situation. I don't know about you, but after a few days here along the border, I'm as confused as before I came.
Looking at the issue overall, it's a very complex issue because there's not a right or wrong answer, and there's not a direct way to solve it exactly, because we heard both sides that sometimes people are saying, hey, I don't want this on my property, and other times people are saying we just want a better life. So it's never an easy topic to handle. I think that what we heard and saw, it just shows that a lot of people are in despair, and a lot of those people are in our own country, and they came here for the exact opposite. They wanted a better future, they wanted safety, they wanted stability, and what they're getting right now isn't really exactly that. And I also think that if more people saw it firsthand, there would be just more empathy from the American side of things, and that more people would be more understanding and more willing to learn more and pay more attention to this situation.
Someone who is paying a lot of attention to the crisis is Sister Norma Pimentel. She runs the Catholic Charities of the Rio Grande Valley in McAllen. It's where newly arrived immigrants can get shelter, food, and medical help.
So many families locally from this area. We saw the families at the bus station, mothers and children crying, hurting, dehydrating, dirty and muddy, and they needed help.
Like Pastor Silva, she also has stories she can't forget.
A woman that is about to give birth and you come like this, and she had a little girl, she was 3 years old. And I said, why would you do this to yourself? Put yourself through all this danger. And she showed me her hand. And it was all disfigured. And she said, you see this? I had some men come into my house. They had a machete, and they struck at my little girl. She's alive only because we're here now. Because they struck to her, and I put my hand to save her.
Sister Pimentel has helped thousands of immigrants, but she says it's Americans who make it possible.
It exists only because of the support of thousands of people from the United States saying, I want to help. I want to be there for that child, for that mother, for that family. And this is who we are in the United States. We are people who care.
I asked her how she does it day after day.
I do get tired, and at the end of the day, I end up very tired, and I go to sleep tired. But I go to sleep with a sense of peace, with a sense of accomplishment. I've done something good.
Her work has drawn so much attention, she was recognized by Pope Francis himself.
Through you, I want to thank all the sisters of religious orders in the U.S.
It was amazing to have our Holy Father, Pope Francis, recognize the work that so many of us here at the border are doing to receive these families, to care for them. And his message is, don't shut your heart down.
And I see that message everywhere at Catholic Charities. Just like in La Plaza de la República, kids are playing and people are getting supplies. But here, I see hope and joy. Like in 17-year-old Arlen Perez. He just arrived with his dad.
Fue bastante difícil el camino, porque hay veces que uno no duerme bien, hay veces no duerme.
His American dream is to study, get a job, and help his family. He says stepping onto the U.S. soil meant everything.
Sí me puse bien contento porque ya pasó toda la pesadilla de estar en ese camino.
He is very much on my mind when we leave.
I think that being able to be in America for him and many people like him means so much more than just crossing a border. Being born in America is seen as a privilege now. It's me living in New York. I've never thought about it being better than living somewhere else. But now I realize that these kids view me and my life as
their dream and that they want something that I was just given at birth.
To Sofia and Gabriel, mis flores, my little flowers. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love, so you can take me with you wherever you go, near or far. These stitches and threads join us together. Me, your mother, and both of you. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Our journey to the border is almost over, and ironically, it ends how it began, with signs of the crisis everywhere. We stumble on a small group of migrants with the Texas State Highway Patrol.
Nos entregamos porque nos cansamos.
After a month on the road and 10 days trying to cross the border without eating, they simply gave up. My trip to the border has made the crisis very real for me. My dad asks me about it right before we leave.
Is it what you expected, the migrant crisis you saw firsthand?
We talked a lot about this at home. We've seen a lot of news on this, but I am really surprised to the extent of the immigration crisis and the amount of people that I saw suffering. Discussing the topic of it being black and white, I just think that's not true. There's so much gray in between. It's such a complex topic and there's not a right or wrong, and being able to hear both sides of the discussion, I think that I'm able to really grasp the situation and understand how pressing of an issue it is.
Finally, another thing that struck me was they all talked about what they were hoping to find in America.
Yeah, I think that the media really focuses on these migrants running away from something and not really the aspect of them running to something, which is the American dream. They all want a better future, whether that is being able to get an education or getting a job, being able to reunite with family. And I think that that's what really keeps a lot of these migrants going, especially on these extremely hard trips to places like Reynosa and America in itself.
I'm sure your friends are going to ask about what you saw. What will you tell them?
We all know that this is an issue, but we have to understand how much help these people need and how the young generation that can really connect to these people is use our voices for the better and be able to tell other people how pressing of an issue this is, why these people need help, and how we can help them.
Yay! And it brings me back to something Sister Pimentel told me when I asked her what people can do to help. She didn't ask for money or food or medical supplies. Instead, she says she wants us all to remember
is to begin to care for humanity.
And like Sister Pimentel and Pastor Silva, I too now have stories I will never forget. And I will keep sharing them, because as my new friend Angel said,
occasionally you hear that, oh, why are they doing this? Why are they going to come over here into our country? They should just stay over there. But in reality, if the roles were reversed, wouldn't you want to come over here?
This is a paid program brought to you by George Efiashvili, DDS.
You're watching The Wellness Hour, news that makes you healthier. I'm Randy Alvarez. Today's topic, replacing missing teeth with dental implants. According to my first guest, he says nobody should be wearing a loose-fitting denture. With us, we have an expert on this topic, Dr. Sepiashvili. Welcome to the program.
Pleasure to be with you, Randy.
Now, I know you brought some photos,
right.
And so before we get to those, we'll get in as many of those as we can.
Sure.
For people that don't know your practice, who's coming in actually for dental implants?
Well, we're a husband and wife team, and we are surrounded by a very caring and dedicated team of people that work with us. And we take care of patients coming in with all different kind of problems, missing teeth, broken down teeth. People have been through the ringer, have seen dentist after dentist after dentist, and they're still not comfortable. They don't like their smile. They can't chew what they want to chew. They can't eat. They can't laugh the way they want to. So we try to give them what they want. We try to give them a beautiful, healthy, natural smile.
Okay, now your wife, she's also a dentist. Is
Yes.
that right? Now, do you do both of pretty much the same thing within the practice, or she does one thing, you do another thing?
Well, we both do the same thing, and we asked our patients what they would like, and all of us hear the same thing. They don't want to go from place to place. They want to be able to see the dentist that they trust. They don't want to go one specialist, another specialist. So we customize that process that we're fortunate that we can take care of all their needs within our practice.
So you have this concept of doing it all right there.
That's right.
Now, when it comes to dental implants, correct me if I'm wrong, that normally you go to one place, how it's typically done, one place that does the surgery, and then another dentist that puts the tooth on top. You do it both right there.
Yeah, and actually the process sometimes is even more complicated. You go to one place to do a CAT scan, then you go to a surgeon to place the implants, then you go to the restorative dentist for him to put the teeth on top of those implants. Really, who wants to go from place to place to place?
And plus, nobody likes going to the dentist.
No, nobody likes to go to the dentist, and people want to be able to go to one place, put their trust into one person, and have that person do whatever needs to be done.
And you could do it one day. In fact, we talked on the phone. You said people can walk in without teeth.
Correct.
And on the day of the procedure, can walk out with teeth that don't come in and out.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Is that right?
Yeah, amazing. This kind of thing, we couldn't do that 20, 30 years ago. Now, there is really no need for people to walk around with removable teeth. I honestly believe that a few years from now, everything will be attached. You won't have to take teeth out, put them in a little jar, or worry about whether they're going to come flying out every time you want to yawn or whistle. So everything will be attached, hopefully, and that technology is here now, that technique is here now, and we're very excited to do.
Are there a lot of people where you are wearing dentures? Or headed to dentures?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, sure. We're in New York suburb. You can probably fill giant stadium with people who are missing teeth, have ill-fitting dentures, have teeth that have to go, that they're gonna have to get a replacement. So yeah, absolutely.
So for the denture wearers, for a moment.
Yeah.
Okay. That if it's so good then to get them fixed to dental implants, why aren't they all doing it?
Oh. That's a great question, really, but there are different reasons people don't do it. First of all, you gotta understand, people who have dentures, they kind of fall off the wagon. They don't see dentists anymore. They've gotten those dentures a few years back. Some of them don't even know that there is an alternative, like having dentures attached to something. So
because they don't go to the dentist.
They don't go to the
Okay.
dentist. Some of these people have been through a lot of really unpleasant experiences. They've had a root canal, then they had a crown, then that root canal failed, then they got the replacement for that tooth, then they did the same thing with another tooth, and they've been in and out of the office, expense after expense, treatment after treatment, and honestly, for them, it's a relief when they don't have to see the dentist anymore.
When they get all their teeth taken out.
Yeah, for them, it may not be the best thing, but I don't have to deal with you guys anymore, with dentists. But they're missing out on comfort. They're missing out on how good really life can be. With something that is attached and doesn't have to come out. Another reason people are scared. People are afraid of discomfort, afraid of going through the procedure.
Seems very painful.
Well, during the procedure, Randy, you feel nothing. We can give you a pill even the night before, so you are relaxed when you get to the office.
Do people do that?
Yeah, absolutely. People love it. They have very little recollection of what actually happened during the procedure. We call it the rainbows and lollipops because that's all they remember, rainbows and lollipops. And then to see them after the procedure when we give them the mirror and they look at their teeth and they're amazed. These are mine, really? I'm gonna walk out of I'm gonna walk out of here with these teeth? Yes, they're yours. Enjoy.
Is that right? You say they get choked up sometimes when they see themselves with these permanent teeth for the first time.
Oh, it's a huge transformation. We had this lady the other day. She came in very nervous initially. Procedure went swimmingly. Everything went beautiful. When we were finished, she saw her smile in the mirror. She gave me a hug. She went around the office. She hugged every team member that was in the office. She came back. She gave me another squeeze, and then she left, you know, I would say hopping on one foot, but she was very, very happy.
Now, how old can you be to do this? Because isn't it true that if you've been in a denture, let's say 30 years, you don't have enough bone for this procedure?
Well, that's a common misconception, really, because honestly, there is no age limit on this kind of procedures. People who are older want to eat and smile and socialize just the same way me and you do.
Could you be 90 years old and do this?
Absolutely. 90-year-old, it's even more important for them to chew well because their whole life revolves around social events, right? You're probably not working at 90 anymore.
That's a good point. All right.
You want to go to a Christmas party, you want to go to Thanksgiving dinner, you want to go see your kids and grandkids and not worry whether you can eat or chew something. With my older patients, I actually hear stories all the time where they get invited to go to the restaurant. The denture wearers pretend that they don't want to eat. They sit there and they actually they'll say, I'm not hungry. Or
because they can't eat in front of
Because
people?
they can't eat. Let me tell you about the life of a denture wearer, Randy.
All right.
You get up in the morning, you have to go, you have to pop them in, you have to wash them out, then you go have breakfast. You can't really have what you want. You can't have a nice cucumber. You got mesh stuff in your mouth. Then you gotta go run, you gotta wash it out so nobody can see. There are so many women in my practice that their husbands are not aware that they have dentures.
Is that right?
Yes, they have to time their runs just perfectly so the husband is not aware that they have to take the teeth out and put them back in. The kind of stress these people go through, it's unbearable, really.
But I know a couple denture wearers, and they seem fine.
Sure, they're fine. They don't complain to you, they complain to me, you're not the dentist. But life of a denture wearer is not a comfortable life. And before maybe you had to, now you really don't. Now there are so many much better alternatives.
So this is the newest, hottest trend in dentistry.
Absolutely. Walk in with a denture, walk out with non-removable teeth that are yours, that you don't have to worry about. Walk out with your old failing, we sometimes call it terminal dentition, and walk out with beautiful, healthy, nice smile.
Now, but what about the people that have really bad gums, like gum disease, right? Are their gums good enough to do this? That means their teeth are falling out. Can they get dental implants?
Yes, and those people are actually, one of the reasons people don't get implants is because of that, because they've been told by other dentists, by other doctors, there are even some medical doctors that you can't have that procedure, your gums are bad. Well, you know, what we found is once the teeth that have all that bacteria, all that mold are out, your gums are healthy. We can place implants. We can give you something that will be healthy that you don't have to worry about, that you can smile confidently and feel good about yourself.
So you brought some photos.
Yes, Randy. Now, this wonderful lady came to our office, and the story she told us was really an amazing story. She said, Dr. George, I have a lot to be grateful for in my life. I have great kids. I have wonderful grandchildren. I'm working. I love the job that I do. But none of the people that know me because I hate my smile. They all think I'm angry.
Is that right?
Yes, they all think that I'm upset about something. It affected my life to the point that I don't even want to get out of the house unless I absolutely have to, because I don't want to smile. I don't feel confident when I'm talking to people. And that's not me. That's not who I am. I'm a happy person inside. I've always been.
They say this on the consult?
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes tears start flowing at the consult because all that built up angst just comes out. They've been living with this for years. They've hated their smile, or they've hated how they feel for a very, very long time. And now they see that there is a light in the end of the tunnel, that it doesn't have to be that way, that they can just go back to enjoying life. They can actually, they realize that this appointment, this consultation, is the first day of the rest of their life. And
nice.
It's very
so
rewarding.
I mean, what was going on with this woman here? It seems like a forced smile in a way on the before.
Yeah, absolutely. We had to teach her how to smile. She forgot how to smile. She didn't know how to do it. Well, we literally had to coach her. You got to put your lip up, and you got to make the corners of your mouth go up. And it took us literally a few minutes before we could get even that.
Was she a denture wearer, or she was headed to dentures? In this case,
she was a denture wearer.
Okay.
She was a denture wearer. She had flipper. She lost a couple of teeth, had a flipper, wasn't happy with the flipper, thought that this is okay, this is what I have to live with. That's kind of what people do. So look at the after. You see how her lip is relaxed, how her whole face is relaxed.
Yeah.
Because her muscles are not stressed anymore. She doesn't have to hide anything. Her lips, she actually has lips now. Look at the before and look at the after. You can't even see that she has back teeth. And now look at her after. You see a nice, pretty smile that is age appropriate, that her skin color appropriate.
They look real. I mean, that's for sure.
They are real.
And I'm not trying to side with you. People need to know. I mean, I'm not trying to side with you. I'm just asking the questions. But this does look good. It looks natural.
Well,
are you in on the design of the teeth part?
Thank you, Randy. Well, yeah, of course. We are kind of like architects. So there is a lot of, we're talking about teeth in one day, but there is a lot of preparation that goes into it. We have to design the smile so it looks appropriate for the person, that it's not too wide, that it's not too big, that it's not too small, that it's appropriate for the person sitting in front of you. We don't want to just give a teeth off the shelf and put them in somebody's.
So how soon can she eat after it's done?
She can eat right away, Randy. And she can eat stuff that she hasn't eaten for years. She can eat a salad. She can bite into a peanut brittle. She can eat candy.
So nuts, I mean, nothing is off limits?
Nothing is off limit. You can go to a movie theater, get a popcorn, and enjoy it while you're watching the movie.
Now, what do they like the most? Do they like the part about eating whatever they want, or do they like the way it looks?
Well, we get all different kinds of people. And some come in and say, look, I don't really care what I look like, which I found is actually not true. Everybody cares what they look like. Okay. But you know what? It's a side benefit. Some people want to look better. Some people want to chew better. Well, here you get both. You get best of both worlds. You chew better, you chew what you want, you eat what you want, and you also look 10 to 15 years younger, sometimes even more than that. Let me show you this next patient.
All right.
Salt of the earth guy. Joke after joke. Came in, loved to play hockey. Had a couple of teeth knocked out playing hockey. Had dentures, had flippers, nothing was fitting well. He was one of those patients that we talked about who said, you know what, I'd like to look better, but for me, I just miss the steak. I just want to bite into a nice juicy steak. He already had dentures. He knew he didn't like the dentures because he couldn't eat what he wanted. It was affecting his life. He said, I can't even laugh out loud because I'm worried that they're gonna come flying out. And I can't eat what I like. I just want that juicy piece of steak. Well, let me tell you, Randy, once we were done, me and him, we went out for a steak.
You ate together?
Yes, we ate together. The smile on his face, when he bit into that first piece of steak, it could light up this whole studio.
Is that right? So
Absolutely.
With him, so you're saying like as little as 4 implants, they get a full arch of teeth?
Yes, absolutely.
And they're not snap in, snap out. These are fixed teeth.
These are fixed teeth that you never have to take out, that you never have to put in a little jar. You never have to worry about them coming out. You can confidently bite into whatever it is that you like to eat, and you can laugh, you can kiss, you can do anything you want to do. Now, look at the after, Randy.
That's nice.
Look at the wonderful smile. Look at the confident smile, because this man knows that he can go anywhere he wants. He can go to the restaurant. He can order whatever he wants. He doesn't have to pretend he doesn't want to eat. He doesn't have to order mashed potatoes or overcooked pasta. And he can enjoy his meal, and he can laugh, and he can yawn, and he can just go about his business and not think about teeth, not think about covering his mouth. That is him. These are his natural teeth that feel, look like his teeth.
Now, for people, and we talked about this, is this one of those things where people say, I should have done this a long time ago?
All the time. I have some patients that have done dentures years ago, and they come to the office and they tell me, why didn't you talk me into doing that earlier? Well, you know, dentists we don't want to pressure people into doing treatment, but now that we do all these wonderful procedures and we see the difference it makes in everyday life of people, how it changes their life, thinking to myself, why didn't I talk them into it earlier?
What kind of training do you have in this?
We spend hours and hours learning how to do this stuff, Randy. We've trained in some of the best institutions in the world. We trained at NYU, we trained in Sklar Institute in